Balpreet Singh is the legal counsel for the World Sikh Organization of Canada, and he joins me now. Mr. Singh, it's good to see you. Thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
What message, we heard some strong language there, what message do you think Prime Minister Modi's attendance is going to send to the Sikh community about how the government sees this issue?
It's painful. It doesn't get worse than a foreign government surveilling and trying to kill a federal leader in Canada, monitoring their family movements, their movements. And this is to kill them. Any other government doing this to a federal leader here, I would assume we would not roll out the red carpet and say, let's have a few days together in the mountains. So this feels really like a betrayal.
Okay, we're talking about Jagmeet Singh, the former NDP leader, who we knew was under police protection because of a foreign threat against his life, or at least to do him physical harm. What we learned in the global news reporting is that it was someone connected with the Bishnoi gang, which is the notorious gang that's apparently involved in this out of India, and that they were on close surveillance of Mr. Singh and his family. And now that he's out of politics, he no longer qualifies for security.
Yeah, so I think it's important to understand how this all fits together. So during the public safety inquiry, the committee, it was revealed that this whole terror operation that India is running has come from Amit Shah, who's the Home Minister and the right-hand man of Narendra Modi. What's happening is that diplomats here, proxies here, are surveilling and passing on information to agents in India, who are then passing that on to the Bishnoi gang, who are targeting Sikhs and others for violence here. There have been at least 3 murders, extortions, shootings. Just last month, the Bishnoi gang took responsibility for the murder of a Sikh businessman in Mississauga. So the same gang is now surveilling Jagmeet Singh, the leader of the NDP, and we're inviting Narendra Modi, who is at the head of this, to Kananaskis for a discussion.
Have you had any official response from the Carney government, from anyone in his ministry, from security officials, the RCMP? Because I remember last Thanksgiving, Monday, very well, when Commissioner Mike Duhem went public with the details they had about this campaign of violence and intimidation that they linked back to the Indian government. There's no evidence that it stopped, right? So have you had any response from the government of Canada about your concerns since you started raising them?
We first raised this issue in June 2024. We wrote to Prime Minister Trudeau's office. We wrote again on May the 21st to Prime Minister Carney's office. And to this date, we have not received an acknowledgement or a response. Now, we have met with members of his caucus. We've met with a number of Sikh MPs, and 2 of them have been vocal about their opposition, Sukh Dhaliwal and Gurbakh Saini. A number of them have told us that they aren't able to speak out, that they agree with us. But as one individual, I'm not going to say who, said to me, he said, Jagmeet spoke out, and look where it landed him. So why would I speak out?
But I know you've been raising these concerns publicly on a broad level, but I mean specifically since the invitation of Narendra Modi. I know Sukh Dhaliwal, he was on the show last week talking about this. He's since met with the Prime Minister to raise his concerns. Has your organization heard anything back about the decision to make the invitation?
What I've heard is that we have to trust Prime Minister Carney, that he knows what he's doing. But when I heard his response on June the 6th, he said that India is such a large country and they have so much influence in terms of the trade that's happening, supply chains. And when he was asked about the Nijjar assassination, he waffled. He said that this is a law enforcement issue and he doesn't want to comment on it. That's a 180 from how Prime Minister Trudeau dealt with it. He was very clear that this is unacceptable, that this will not be allowed in Canada. And that was appreciated by my community. But seeing things change so rapidly, it's hurtful. Like, I can't say it anymore. 3 murders, plus trying to kill the leader of a political party because of who he is, his identity. This is a Canadian issue, but it really feels as though people are looking at it, particularly this government, as, this is just a Sikh issue and that we'll deal with it with India. It's unfair.
I know the answer you're speaking about from Prime Minister Carney. I took that to mean he wouldn't talk about specific aspects of the legal processes because it is moving through, a federal investigation involving the National Police Force. And I didn't take it as sort of I don't take the issue seriously. Am I misinterpreting it? Or because I thought it was a Prime Minister trying to avoid getting entangled in something that is moving through the legal system.
To be honest, when we compare it to how Prime Minister Trudeau addressed this issue,
Right.
it's much weaker, like noticeably weaker. And that hasn't just registered for us. The way the Indian media are portraying this is a complete capitulation, that Canada has bent the knees and that everything Prime Minister Trudeau had said about India's interference was a lie. And we've actually seen threats against the Sikh community increase. We had a senior editor at an Indian media outlet say that they will target Sikhs, Khalistanis he called them, on Canadian soil, and he ended that quote with "cope."
I asked this question not to downplay your concerns, but what we hear from people who've worked in the world of diplomacy, there is the issue that the Prime Minister did raise, that India, the largest population country on earth, number 5 economy, there's Modi and there's India. India belongs at the table. Modi, I accept that it is not as easy a calculation to make. What do you make of this argument, though, that because it is the G7, it's not Canada and India getting together for a formal meeting, it's more of a consensus-driven thing, and it's the other G7 countries have relations with India and want them at a table like this?
Dialogue is okay. Mm-hmm. Unconditional dialogue, for me, it looks like appeasement. So the U.S. has renewed their ties with India based on an agreement that India will look into the murder-for-hire plot against Gurpatwant Singh Pannu. And there's a committee that's looking into it, and they will report back. In Canada, India has refused to even acknowledge they were involved in anything. They, in fact, thumbed their nose, saying that this is all made up, this was all electoral politics to court the Sikh vote. Mm-hmm. This is completely unprincipled. There are no concessions. There are no concrete steps moving forward. There's not even an acknowledgement that India won't kill any more Sikhs on the ground. I mean, we've just gone and given them an invitation carte blanche. And that, to me, is not diplomacy. That's, once again, appeasement.
The Prime Minister did say, if I remember correctly, in the readout he issued after his conversation with Prime Minister Modi, and in some of the media he did, that he stressed this importantly, India has agreed to continue the conversation about law enforcement cooperation. What do you take from that statement?
We know that prior to the October announcement, there was ongoing dialogue between law enforcement and intelligence in Canada and India, and we know that went nowhere. There have been no assurances given. So this isn't something new. This so-called dialogue has been going on for a very long time. And India keeps, once again, thumbing its nose at Canada and saying, well, we did nothing and you can't prove otherwise. So I'm not looking forward to this so-called dialogue. In fact, what has happened on every single so-called Canada-India dialogue that's happened in the past has been that Canada has received a list of Sikh activists that India wants deported, saying that they are terrorists, and Canada has responded back saying, well, you've not given us any evidence, and they seem to be just exercising political speech that you disagree with. That's what we're looking at.
So just as a final question, obviously at this stage, the invitation is not going to be rescinded. I think that seems obvious at this point. So what sort of an outcome could there be from this meeting at the end of day Tuesday or in the days after that would say to you that maybe this was worth it? Or is there anything that could happen that would make you think that?
Well, the hurt has been already felt by my community. So we, as collective organizations, have come up with 3 things that we want. We still want that invitation to be rescinded until India agrees to cooperate with the criminal investigations that are happening. Mm-hmm. But we want a full public inquiry into India's transnational oppression in Canada. This is a 40-year history that we're looking at. A lot of stuff has happened, but just in the past few years, 3 murders, just to lead that off. And then finally, we want intelligence sharing between Canada and India to be stopped until, once again, there are assurances that human rights will be respected. And we know for a fact that false information has flowed from India, which has resulted in real harm to Sikhs here in Canada. So unless there are actual concrete announcements made to show that these concessions have been obtained from India, that India will at least not kill people, it's difficult for us to say, well, it's okay, the dialogue has happened.